we're playing Growing My Grandpa. It is a horror game by James. I played a game of his called Waterwomb World, which was great, and before that I played another game, which I actually don't recall its name. I think it was something about a family, connecting in a strange way. Or maybe it was somebody else, I don't remember. But this game is about growing my grandpa. I think the title says it all. So, I'm gonna go in, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. My favorite part about the game is that I can play it on full screen, because every single game games make, it's like on a small screen. Would you like to view the tutorial regarding the basic mechanics? Sure. Please read. This game is designed to be played with a mouse. The input required of you is based around clicking the mouse buttons. The right mouse button will change the cursor's image and function. Only when pointing, indicated by the extended index finger, can you, the player, interact with certain menu buttons and prompts. Please click below in the pointing mode to continue. Okay, so now I'm in grabby mode. Pointy mode. Grab, point. Interesting. The second cursor mode is indicated with the cursor's image featuring a head extending all fingers. This mode concerns interacting with objects inside the world, mainly picking up the object and moving it into another position. To continue, please pick up the piece of trash on the right and place it in the trash can on the left. Remember, the right mouse button will change the cursor's mode, but when holding something, the mode cannot be changed until the cursor is not holding something. That's it. There will be many situations in Growing My Grandpa that will require you to pick things up, place things, grab things, or give things. Don't be afraid to experiment and keep an open mind about using your hand. Please click the menu button below. Remember, menu buttons must be clicked in the pointer mode. In order to expedite the cleaning process, you can use digits 1, 2, and 3 on your keyboard's number row on the top of the keyboard to reposition the trash can below. There you go. Try moving it from right to left screen on your keyboard in order to continue. Well done. Please click on the continue button to move on. And please remember menu buttons must be clicked in the pointer mode. Okay. A variety of video options can be changed at any time through F3, 4, and 5. 3 adjust and disable shader effects. 4 to cycle through display resolutions. And 5 to change your cursor types. There are 3 cursor color schemes available, plus 3 left-handed variants of each color scheme. That's nice. By default, Growing My Grandpa's display is scaled up by a factor of 2, and the shader is set at low. Configuration option overlay. Hovering over a small question mark in the top right provides an overlay related to available configuration options. Try hovering over it. This will be available at the game. Yes, that's it. Press F3 to adjust. 4 to recycle, and 5 to color scheme. The end of the tutorial. I hope you enjoy Growing My Grandpa. Infinite thanks to my patrons and supporters for believing in me and my works. Yeah, good job. I'll leave a link to his Patreon in the stream archive description, because he made a bunch of games. And his games are very weird, and I'm very interested by the fact that he's doing like these experimental games. I excused Adrian during my music class today and spoke with her about a recent string of demerits. It was our first time meeting outside of our quarterly evaluation, and I believe it went well. I can certainly understand Mrs. Richardson's classroom observation concerning Adrian's emotional state. She was, of course, intensely shy when she first met. As I understand it, she is similarly withdrawn in her classroom activities and only speaks or acts when she is absolutely must. Some things she simply will not do. Instead of participating in mandatory group activities, she will sit alone and accept that she will receive a demerit. Before the meeting, I read Mrs. Richardson's parent-teacher report, which allowed me to estimate some about Adrian's home life. The parents are well-educated and come from a prestigious background, but they lack time to properly nurture Adrian. She is often alone, and when she is not, the parents seem to not understand the importance of worth and affirmation when dealing with someone so young. Having two parents of this reserved and icy temperament exact an inhibition in a child. The child's imagination is subdued, but only ostensibly, for it eventually finds its way into regular life. I summarized that I would be able to reach out to Adrian by a way of make-believe. How are you liking your new house? You've told me you used to live close by, but it still can be a big adjustment. A new room, a new school. The basement. I like it. The basement? Yeah, well, there's a lot of cool stuff. Mom and Dad sent me down there. I'm not sure about this. Your mom and dad made you go? Yeah, but there's lots of cool stuff. Well, that's not why they sent me down there, though. Why did they send you down there? Fighting. They were fighting, shouting. I came in to help, and they shouted at me. They said, go clean up downstairs. So I went. Up downstairs. That sounds tough. Do they fight a lot? No. Well, they, It's alright, Adrian. Maybe you can tell me more about the basement instead. Okay. Well, it was weird at first, the stuff down there, but cool. I found something living, sort of. That's very interesting, Adrian. Please tell me more. By indulging her in her fantasies and stories, I was able to glean more of an understanding of Adrian's anxiety surrounding her home and parents. The symbols of Adrian's story seem to carry their own traumatic weight, and her exploration of the basement may very well be a vehicle for the conveyance of her anxiety. Whatever might come out of our next meeting, whether she will engage in similar make-believe, I will set down her story here. I'm just making sure my camera is not covering anything important during the text popping on left and right. Adrian's story begins with her delving into the basement with a trash receptacle and the goal of cleaning up. Where is Grandpa? I'm sure we'll get into it. She discovered one of the walls was covered in plastic bags. She went to investigate, intent on tearing away whatever they covered. Oh, this is cool. These are the trash bags. And there they are. Upon removing the plastic trash bags from the wall, she noticed their interior lining was covered in glass. Like a window, I offered. No, she said, like a mirror. Reflecting inward towards the animal they covered. I gently asked her what exactly this animal was. Here is where the material reality of the story took a turn for the explicitly fantastic and imaginary. Upon her discovery of it, at her gaze, it grew, or extended, its shaggy-haired self. Hair like the fur of a dog, I offered. No, she said. Not the fur of a dog, nor the hair on her head. It grew out towards her, the animal's hair, reaching out. It was hard, standing almost straight, like the hair on a brush. A bristle, I offered. Yes, she said. She was very afraid at first, but then very curious. I asked her what else was in the room, more things hidden away. She said, things of Grandpa's as well. First, she found a hidden passage under the stairs. Inside were strange dolls, magic, objects, naked, faceless figures. I heard these cryptic utterances and merely nodded. In order to keep the game of make-believe going, I only passed for details where I thought necessary. The faceless dolls could be a simple metaphor for the anonymity she feels in her own home. The hidden passage, I am unsure of what to make of that. The revealing of the concealed seems to be thematic in her fantasy. The door under the stairs is but one example. So is that my grandpa? Sure funny looking grandpa. Well, I guess I'm gonna explore the rest of the basement. Let's look right. There's a pipe over there. A wardrobe right here. A chair. Some light. And nothing else. There's a trash pile which we can investigate, so let's go. Yep, that's a lot of trash. Perhaps I should remove them. Nope, actually, it's just a trash pile. There's something unknown on the right side, so I guess we'll check it out. Seems like there is 2 ropes. Trash, maybe. Yeah. I thought these were ropes. Once she removed the panel and found the magical hidden passage, she was very specific about what she took. She found a magic book, a magic doll, a photo of her late grandpa, and magic glue. I'm gonna take doll. A slouching doll. Its material is rough and coarse. What the heck is that? More trash? There's a note there, but not after I clean everything. Oh, found some glue. All clean. This space will not be dirty again until next week. So, all-purpose glue or magic glue. Papers crudely bound together to form a book. The impetus of this research was the recognition of a particular pattern in the fragments of documents relating to magical and magico-religious practices. Numerous sources were drawn from commentaries on laws relating to the banning of sorcery and necromancy, complications of folk charm relating to love spells, hagiographies of saints and their encounters with devils. The list spans many centuries and a great distance from the Levant to the Khazar Khaganate to the border of the modern nation-states of Russia and Kazakhstan today. From this paper trail arose a consistent account about a certain form of magic relating to the binding of demons to a sorcerer's will. A demon called the Heaven of Needles, the Angel of Needles, was known to be kept best by shamanic keepers or wards who suffer from the face blindness, prosopogonzia, whether by birth or through developmental causes like a stroke or head injury. It was known to be extremely effective but terribly dangerous, so much so that it became outlawed several times and was generally a popular scapegoat related to unexpected death. This nexus of magico-religious meaning-making sorcery regarding human-related desires and the history and science of neurological disorders related to the fusiform gyrus is where the subject of the dissertation will reside. I will outline further and then analyze the historical sources I mentioned previously. Then I will go into the neurology of mystic and magico-religious experiences. After that, I will detail my ongoing correspondence with a resident of the Ural Mountain region who is an expert folklorist and keeper of traditions he claims have been passed down through the extended family for generations. And there is also a note right here. Who the heck is this? Oh yeah, a photo of late grandfather. Mr. PhD. I thought I misread that. Okay, so it is Mr. PhD. On the reverse side of the photograph, there is more text. Good luck on your trip to the Ursals. Stay warm. Alright. I interrupted to ask what she did with these magical, mysterious materials. Grow, Grandpa, she explained plainly, and then, without missing a beat, she continued on with her story. Feeling this was a potent symbol, I stopped her again to ask what she meant. Somewhat puzzled, I did not understand immediately. She explained slowly. Grandpa lives in a cage in the other room. The cage behind the door. They grew people in the cage. Cage? Behind a door. This door? There are some notes here. A hastily written note. I have repeatedly called your homes to no avail, and so I am forced to leave this here for you all. I found William sitting in the corner of the enclosed area, seeming severely concussed. Whiskers was gone in none of its usual hiding places. I immediately suspected the worst. The project thus must be suspended for now. I am leaving up the usual mirrored coverings we use to keep the anthropodic void sealed. I have done my best to lock up everything on such short notice. It is a hasty fix, but will require some time to find a more permanent remedy. I am honestly hoping you do not find this note, as I intended to lock the house down too. I intend to race off to you to retrieve your lockbox's keys. Do not worry about William's key. It and the rest of his equipment is almost certainly deep within Whiskers now. I pray you do not enter this room. No matter how it may appear, William cannot be helped, and is only being kept alive as a means of continuing predation on the rest of us. I will say once again, no matter what state you may encounter William in, he cannot be helped. I have sympathy for the young man, I truly do, but I found on his person several photos of his late sister, which would imply certain risks he knew he was taking. Our extant research materials have now become possible liabilities, either criminal or professional in nature, so I have stashed them away. I believe I let you all know how I might do this if we were ever to experience an event such as this. I hope you all remember what I told you. So long then. Dr. H. Lab orientation. 1. For the sake of university policy and the health of any future career you hope to have, you will abide by the non-disclosure contract you have signed. 2. Do not break the anthropoidic vacuum without my prior consultation and approval. 3. Any anthropoidic forms brought into the enclosed area must not be left unattended. When not in dormancy, the sample will attempt to take anthropoid shells. Please see shell notes for more on that. Is that the shell notes? 4. The sample's exposure to some of our neuronal activity is unavoidable. However, the speed at which its darius yield is produced can be dampened by several precautions regarding libidinal and emotional urges. Keep conversation not related to lab work to a minimum. If you begin to suspect you are developing attachments to your colleagues, contact me as soon as possible. What the heck is that even supposed to mean? Note 4. 3. Ritual behavior with the sample, trading bargaining will result in dismissal from the project. The precise mechanism of the exchange of symbols and gifts required for a requested darius yield is not known, and is even then anecdotal accounts of success are illegible and in violent death. That sounds horrible. Regarding growth cycles, every time Whiskers regenerate and leaves dormancy, it is to be logged as a new propagation. The sample's bodily existence cannot be illegible, i.e., a part cannot be cut from the whole, so there can only be one living propagation. Propagation are to be terminated after 5 weeks. Any further development puts us at risk. Termination procedures will be posted and followed with extreme care. With all of that out of the way, I want to welcome you to the project. I look forward to working with you, Dr. Hart. I'm gonna enter. Beyond the door, in the room, the cage was hidden, concealed in another cloak of inward-facing mirrors. A hidden cage lined with mirrors, it is strange, almost poetic. The elaborate fantasy of self-reflection, concealment, captivity. Tarp. We're just gonna remove it? Alright. At the cage, she finally cast her spell. But it was confusing. She couldn't find at first. She took the magic doll, the magic glue, and the photo of her grandpa, and she combined them, and she wished very hard. I can only assume in this fantasy that next her wish would come true. In what child's story would it not? Particular human representation. Grandpa. Generic human figure, that would be the doll. glued together, a tangible symbol of intention and desire. She put Grandpa in the cage, assuming that was part of the ritual. She was not clear on how it worked. What precise instructions she could glean from her grandfather's magic book was complicated by her reading comprehension. She wished with all her heart, and then she told me she waited a while for something, anything to happen. And after that time, she began to cry. I cried really hard, she said. I wanted Grandpa to be back. I wanted my parents to stop being so mean. And it hurt me. It hurt me wish for Grandpa to come back, for my parents to be different. I could feel it through the walls, and it felt me through the air. I asked her what exactly she meant. She could only repeat what she said. By this time, lunch was almost over. I said goodbye to Adrian, and she left me to rejoin class. I was left to consider our conversation. I believe the storytelling strategy I have employed was not unfruitful, but I must probe deeper if I can. Although I can be sure of nothing I interpret, the impressions I get may begin to help me get an idea of the right questions to ask. Knowledge you acquired this week has given you access to certain topics or keywords you can discuss with Grandpa. You have gained the conversation topic wish. Consider discussing this when Grandpa emerges. You also have gained the following keyword. You have gained the conversation topic shall. Consider discussing this when Grandpa emerges. Week 2. He's beautiful. He sure is. He's a very pretty grandpa. I met again with Adrian in order to address her emotional outbursts in the past few weeks. It is our second time meeting, and while it's standard practice to have multiple sessions with a troubled student, as I assemble a report for the consulting department, I could not help but think, as we sat down in my office, that Adrian already seemed to show a remarkable change in self-esteem and confidence, and perhaps my and Mrs. Richardson's estimation of her as emotionally disturbed was erroneous. The paralyzing shyness and withdrawn attitude Adrian possessed last week was not entirely diminished, but she seemed to hold herself differently this week. However, this only lasted as long as our conversation pertained to initial introductory pleasantries. When I began once again asking about her parents, her feelings regarding her new school and her new home, she quickly lost what new confidence she had gathered up and withdrew again into herself. So, once again, I partook in some collaborative make-believe, but this time I was aided by the fact that I had managed to do some research into Adrian's grandfather, and I had some insight into what she might actually be finding in the basement. Now, this may be overstepping my bounds some as a school counseling caseworker, but this was all in the service of making Adrian comfortable and happy in this learning environment. In any case, I was able to dig up information regarding the grandfather by inquiring at the university in town. Not that I make it a habit of sleuthing, but I had a suspicion the grandfather was a professor there, or at least some sort of a researcher, due to the fact that the newly constructed laboratory on the campus I drive by every day bears his name in memorial. PhD? He was some sort of a anthropologist or linguist or neuroscientist. I did not have to dig that deep before the scope of his work became dizzying, and I ran up against the limits of my undergraduate education. But back to the make-believe. What is your grandpa like? Is he a smart man? Not anymore, but I'm teaching him. So he's grown a good deal then. You have been feeding him well? Yeah, he's getting bigger, but he has a lot of room in his cage. He's still behind the bars. Yeah, well, he might be able to climb out eventually. There's this vent in the ceiling. Well, perhaps if he climbs out, I could meet him someday. Yeah, maybe, but he's not ready to leave. He can't take care of himself. I have to feed him, pick up after him. Ah, you stored the food in your lunchbox. That's nice of you to share. He can almost talk. You cannot speak with him? He doesn't have a mouth, sort of. But how do you feed him? He has a small mouth on the outside, on his shell, or the stuff in his skin. I'm a little confused. Maybe you can go through a typical day with your grandpa? Okay. I asked her to explain how exactly she goes about growing her grandpa, and Adrian began another tale. Hi, I'm new. What's up? Hello, Alexandro. We are playing a creepy game. According to Adrian, in the week that had passed, much had changed in the basement. Oh? Where did Grandpa go? What's this? The hairy thing that was here before is gone. Yeah, I noticed. Well, I guess that wasn't Grandpa, it was just a hairy thing. Grandpa is actually behind the door. You should go see Grandpa first. Yes, sir. I still have my magic glue with me, by the way. Is he not behind the cage? I don't see him. I chose the option wake Grandpa. It was scary at first, she said. The way he moved. The way the doll's skin covered him. I wanted to interject. This somehow seemed inappropriate. But I kept listening. When I look at him, she continued, when I think about him, he grows and moves. It's like he's growing for me. So he's growing bigger now, I asked. Yes, she said. Bigger every day. There's Grandpa. Man, they grow so fast. This begins the actual growing part of growing your grandpa. Beneath the doll's burlap skin, the follicles knit together what resembles a proper person, your grandpa. You are in charge of its cognitive development and diet until it is able to sustain itself. Currently, you are observing Grandpa. Please click the arrow back button below for a brief tutorial for your duties. Here we can see a variety of options regarding growing your grandpa. Highlighted in red are objectives related to feeding and teaching Grandpa. Important messages regarding Grandpa's recent activity will also appear here. Feed Grandpa at a 0 out of 2 acceptable foods eaten. Seek out things to feed Grandpa. Teach Grandpa 0 out of 2 words taught. Find vocabulary cards to help Grandpa speak. Explore the basement. You will need to find a food and learning material before you can move on to the next week. Some foods will make Grandpa happy, others merely content. Some food will make Grandpa disgusted to the point of nausea. Learning material is also scattered throughout the basement. Seek out vocabulary cards intended to help teach English and basic anthropoidic concept formation. The options highlighted in red are related to navigating around Grandpa's enclosure. Go to Grandpa option will let you perform all actions directly related to Grandpa, feeding, teaching, observing, etc. Accessing the study corner will let you go over any documents you pick up as the weeks go by. It's a good idea to learn about the works of the people who last occupied this space. And last is accessing the kitchen corner will let you search for food in old refrigerator and prepare food for Grandpa if need be. The help button will replay the tutorial. The save game button will save your game. The exit button will take you out. More buttons may or may not appear depending on your development of Grandpa, so watch out. One final note, take care to explore the basement at your leisure. However, due to the entropic nature of clutter and trash, different weeks may allow you to find things you had not previously discovered. Good luck! First of all, we save the game. And then we're gonna go back and start digging through a trash pile. Examine. Something about the painting looks strange. Search painting. Search trash pile. What's this? Fiberglass insulation. This isn't really food. Grandpa might eat it, however. Nah, not fitting my grandpa trash. Only the best of the best. Hold on. There you go. Well, that's that. Okay. I'm gonna back out of the trash pile corner. There's a cabinet here. Slouching under the weight of a rot and... Slouching under the weight of rot and a refuse. Cabinet. There's something there. Blueberries. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. I want him to grow to be a strong grandpa. I'll clean this space will not be dirty again until next week. Good. I don't see anything else in the cabinet though. That animation is really good. Same. That's exactly what I've been thinking. I think with each game James make, he gets better at this like innate style he developed. So like the next game is gonna be even more than this, I presume. Because he's growing into this, no pun intended, because the game is about growing a grandpa, but he's growing his skills as a game developer into this like unique style he developed. Top drawer. More trash. I moved the trash bin closer to my hand. There is a face. What the heck? Hold on. I guess it's like a doll box or something. I'll clean this place will not be dirty until next week. An account of an acquisition. Before we began, he had us all cover our faces completely. An earthenware pot was illegible, and on the inside, as we stole brief glances at it, we could see the interior was inlaid with mirrors. The illegible gave it a small pieces of dough. Spoiled food, chicken feed, illegible, keeping its content. Keeping it content. The keeper gestured towards the small bag where the food composited and told us to be careful not to feed it any meat. I asked if the rotten food was enough to sustain it, how it might get nutrients from any of this. The keeper regarded me seriously and said it did not matter what it was fed. The act of feeding itself was what mattered. The act of feeding flesh is another act, however. He then gave me another series of grave warnings regarding not keeping any animal-derived foods near where I might be keeping it. So we shouldn't feed it any meat. I have fiberglass and blueberries. So I guess we're gonna make our grandpa vegan. He's a vegan. What's with the bottom drawer? Safe -T. 1951. At the 19th century, 51 grandpas, 5 grandpas grew into one. I'll remember this number if it's important. I presume like the best food is down there. Alright, that was the cabinet. Let me check this trash pile. The waste here smells particularly strong. Oh, I found a little man. A simple paper doll. This might be useful in the construction of magic symbols. That's good to hear. Animal Crossing Horror Edition. This place is still dirty. Okay, I'll clean. Good. Where did the hairy thing go? Corroded battery. This isn't really food. Grandpa might eat it, however. No, I'm not feeding him a corroded battery. Only the best food. Linguistic module. Hello. Teach Grandpa this word to read the notes of past educators. Good. Bulbous growth. Something appears to be growing from the wall. You take a closer look. A pulsating sac, this slimy membrane that is its skin seems to contain something. It might be able to open with a blade. I'll quickly open my inventory, but I don't think I have a blade. I guess we'll come back here. The darkness of the shadowy corner unnerves you. You cannot explore here without some form of light. Okay. I'm gonna go check on my grandpa now. So, first of all, I'm gonna let him study. Wait. Go to grandpa. Teach grandpa. Vocabulary card, hello. Teach the word hello? Wait, no, hold on. Yes. You approach the grandpa. Hold down right mouse button if you wish to end the lesson early. So like, my mouse is constantly moving towards the middle and I'm trying to push it towards the flashing things. Did I do it? Deep within Grandpa's strange membranes phonate. Having completed this lesson, you take a look at the back of the vocabulary module card and the notes that are written by administrators of the past. Hello, part of vocabulary and vocalization module A2, conversationalism basics. General pronunciation comments, sloppy articulation, module comments, see below. We are already encountering some difficulty as Whiskers subjectively is so much determined by a diverse and dynamic array of influences. It attempts to mimic the thoughts and desires it passively intercepts, and these imitations go on to structure the basis of its identity. Only later in Whisker's growth cycle does it begin to form an identity or identities that are coherent and capable of resembling a sane, rational human being when engaged in conversation. One must imagine how hard it would be to converse with someone who is not yet oriented in one particular way towards who or how they are, because they might have 20 different honest answers to those questions, all of them mixed and muddled together. Because of this, we have started with the basics of conversation: greetings, partings, identifying one another, forming questions, etc., etc. It is fortunate Whisker's current growth, number 19 I believe, has developed a mostly accurate human mouth simulation. Hello was a bit of a challenge in the previous growth, as it had failed to develop an adequate organ to act as a human tongue. You step away from the bars and store the module cards at the document table. Alright, wasn't there another word I could teach him? Okay. I'm gonna look at Grandpa. Damn. You examine Grandpa. Nothing. It's noting its movements, respiration, and general mood. This game is only getting stranger. Yeah, it sure does. Grandpa seems sort of sluggish and bored. You get the feeling it may be more content and readily cooperative once fed and taught a word or two. Alright, Grandpa. I'm gonna feed you something. Would you like to view the tutorial before you start? You will not be prompted again. The brief tutorial will go over the basics of feeding Grandpa via introduction of your unprotected insula. Grandpa has simulated the production of tooth enamel to mimic a human mouth. It will need to be fed though. This is in order to properly learn and grow. First, you will need to select an item from the lunchbox. Click on the lunchbox in the bottom right corner. The contents of the lunchbox will be displayed. Nice food, bad food. Select an item from the lunchbox. Doing so will fill your hand with this item. Note that any food can be put back into the lunchbox by clicking on the lunchbox with a full hand. Before Grandpa can be fed, it must judge the food by smell. Hover your hand above Grandpa's olfactory bulbs. If Grandpa is pleased, it will allow you to feed it. Most foods Grandpa will accept. However, getting Grandpa to consume other things requires some culinary deception. When Grandpa is willing to be fed, hover your hand over its mouth and click. Grandpa will then consume the food. Good luck on feeding Grandpa. Oh, so I could like save smelly, good smelling food and then dump trash down his throat. Oh, I'm not sure about this. I need to feed him twice. Hold on. You step away from the window in the bars. Grandpa makes a plaintive whine, clearly disappointed in the lack of sustenance. It dejectedly locomotes back to its favorite corner. Feeding summary. Yeah, I didn't feed him. I regretted my decision. I'm just gonna look for food, and if I can't, I'm gonna have to try and feed him battery acid. This is clean until next week, and I don't have a blade to cut this growth. And I don't suppose there is anything. Yeah. But what about another learning card? Aren't I missing one? Hold on, what about here? Study corner. Nope. Kitchen. Search upper fridge. Lettuce. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. Lower fridge. Brown banana. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. I would like this, actually. Prepare food. Soft fruit or vegetable. Unappealing item. Oh, I can create food? Hold on a moment. Banana and fiberglass. Conceal. I don't know. Do I want to deceive my grandpa? The insulation is concealed in the browning banana flesh. Why am I trying to feed him unappealing food, though? Look over documents. Oh, these are my documents, I see. Examine educational posters. Yep. I feel educated. Search file cabinet 1. More trash! Here we go. All clean. Cashews. It looks edible. An account of an acquisition. You can examine the detail in later study. File cabinet 2. I found another module, Grandpa. Good. You remove the taped down fabric to reveal the cabinet's wooden bottom. Secrets! Notation regarding some sample exoskeletons. Research participants, please take note. Each growth from a cycle does not require a shell, but you may find the sample will often try and seize on something somewhat flexible it can grow into, along with any desirous yield it may generate, or else it will move from one shell to the next as it outgrows them. In the small amount of time I have spent with it in preparation, I have noticed it tends towards human forms. However, we should keep a tight lid on the anthropomorphic seal in order to be cautious before we begin to experiment with exposing it long-term to anthropodem stimuli. Dr. Hart. We did give him a doll, if you remember. Or actually, we summoned Grandpa by attaching his picture to a doll. A note regarding cleanup procedures. You have gained a new conversation topic, biohazard bin. So, hold on. There is 2 documents I didn't read, I don't think. So I think this. It was said to pass from one family of steppe people to another, but pressed on its ultimate origin, illegible, somewhere to the south, coiled in a bowl covered in incantations, buried upside down by a graveyard, a common late antiquity, demon trap. The keeper, an elderly man, is in fallen health, was ready to expound on and on about the dangers of the organism, but when I asked more pointed questions about the history of its acquisition, I was given curt responses that had a way of circling back to vague warnings. Oh, I'm not sure what to make of that note, actually. Severe note. To my colleagues, I don't mean to be overly severe in tone, but Dr. Hart's work is very important, and the material we are working with is potentially very dangerous. I will be handing out a copy of this note as a reminder to everyone. I'm not trying to single any particular person out. We all have misconceptions about the nature of this project from time to time. With that out of the way, here are some things to keep in mind. 1. The active growth must be thoroughly terminated via the correct procedures at the very least 4 weeks after dormancy is interrupted. It doesn't matter what you've done or haven't done regarding tests or procedures, or how much the anthropodic vacuum has been disrupted. We are not ready to go beyond 4 weeks at this point. A step-by-step guide to termination has been posted by the enclosure wall. Please, please, please do not place the educational posters over the posting. 2. Do not disrupt the anthropodic vacuum without Dr. Hart's prior consultation and approval. I'll be on the lookout for any educational posters. In case of an emergency where the vacuum is disrupted, put on your equipment and begin the lockdown procedure. Make an extensive note of when and how the breach occurred. 3. If you find the habitat empty, page Dr. Hart immediately, but do not attempt to speak with anyone else. This thing can get very smart. I'm sure you're all well aware from the stories we heard on our acquisitions trip. The greatest caution should be used when dealing with a potential aggressive mimicry scenario. Please seek me out if you have any more questions. William. What the heck did... I don't want my grandpa to turn crazy. Medical imaging device. I don't have anything to put there. Well, I'm gonna go teach Grandpa another word. Teach. Grandpa. He's growing so fast. A little creepy, don't you think? Pretty strange game, and I'm into it. You're into any strange game, Ted. Man, you must feel proud for growing such a smart grandpa. Sure I am. Having completed the lesson, you take a look at the back of the vocabulary module card and the notes that are written by administrator of the past. Grandpa, part of vocabulary and vocalization module E81, family, general pronunciation comments, unusual trouble with articulation, voiced thin, raspy, possibly underdeveloped larynx. Module comments see below. We have done several sessions of what we are calling familial relation simulation. I and a co-researcher sit in chairs opposite the enclosure. We are wearing the usual masks, and we begin to act out a scene, mostly through improvisation. That might roughly resemble a kitchen table conversation between an immediate family. Repeated trials would reveal, although our simulated conversations was purposely vague and unspecific regarding persons and identities, we would only address each other as brother and father, sister, etc., etc. It soon became apparent that encoded information and associations we unconsciously drawn upon when hearing and speaking these words was being picked up by the whiskers and its psi-type field of reception interpretation of brain/mind event/somatic content. My co-researcher William noticed this is a simulation where Whiskers was given a role as a sister and he as a brother. I was the father. Whiskers began responding to certain prompts with unusual specificity, as well as a general pattern and timbre of speech that continued with unusual consistency. As soon as the simulation ended, we left the enclosed area. William let me know that Whiskers was almost certainly drawing from encoded memories of his late sister, mapping out exactly what regions and centers of neural activity and intercepted by the site-type field will take extensive neuroimaging that we do not have at this site. Currently, we only have a less precise portable equipment. However, our experiences so far are eerily in line with folk knowledge and folk explanation regarding the being's access to desires, and we can begin to infer it has access to certain portions of the limbic system and the ventral temporal cortex. Whew. Well, my grandpa can speak. Let's feed him now. Observe. You examine Grandpa, noting its movement, respiration, and general mood. Grandpa seems sort of sluggish and bored. You get the feeling it may be more content and readily cooperative once fed and taught a word or two. Feed. Click on Grandpa's nostrils, left mouth. If Grandpa is enticed by the smell, click on Grandpa's mouth to feed it. Click on Grandpa's nostrils, left of the mouth. Grandma seems indifferent to the smell, but will let you eat it. He's growing! The meal appears to have been sufficient. I want to feed him concealed food. Grandpa has detected an unappealing item in the food. Although quickly consumed, the meal seems to be causing some indigestion. And with a sudden lurch, Grandpa empties its stomach onto the floor. The contents pull together in front of the cage. No, I screwed up! Hold on, can I quit game? And continue. Grandpa, no! I'm not gonna feed him trash. I only give the best food to my grandpa. Smell it. How about some berries? Do you like the berries? The meal appears to have been sufficient. Can I overfeed him? You step away. Grandpa grunts in appreciation and locomotes towards its favorite corner. Yeah! We did it! Why would I try and conceal food, though? Well. End week. Weekly summary. Food acquired. Fiberglass insulation, berries, battery, lettuce, banana, concealed insulation, and cashews. Documents acquired. All of these. All of them. Knowledge you acquired this week has given you access to a new conversation topic to discuss with Grandpa. You have gained language. Consider discussing when Grandpa emerges. Oh, I could observe Grandpa after feeding him. You know what? Might be a good idea to do that. If there was a way to stop. Mrs. Richards approached me the other day in order to remark on Adrian's development. She noted how much more at ease she appears when she calls upon in class or when asked to participate in a group exercise. I told her I had seen this change happening as well, and this, as much as I would like to take credit for it, I can only guess dimly at what might be reshaping her attitude. Mrs. Richards posited that it was perhaps Adrian's family moving into their grandfather's property that caused the change. It apparently is out in the country in a wooded area, full of wide open space and far from the bustle and noise of the city. The grandfather, Dr. Jacob Hart, had jointly purchased the land with the university he was employed with and began constructing what he was intending to be a satellite campus for a burgeoning psychology anthropology program he had a hand in establishing. Only one building ever ended up being constructed after Dr. Hart died in a car accident when driving back from the property one day. Eerily, at almost at the same exact time, a grad student who was assisting Dr. Hart on some sort of project at the property vanished without a trace. Or maybe it was a murderer. The property sat in disuse for years as it was tied up in legal battles between Dr. Hart's next of kin, the university, the vanished grad student's family, and the other students Dr. Hart was working with. Eventually, the case was settled out of court. Only recently did the property fall into the possession of Adrian's mother. Obviously, I was not going to relay this whole tragic story to Adrian, who, for all I know, believes her grandpa is still be alive in the basement of his home. Besides, I thought she might already know all of this. Perhaps the elaborate story she was constructing was her own way of escaping the morbid details of life, or perhaps lives, cut short by the cruel force of fate and the cynical adults who succeeded in the aftermath. I determined perhaps the storytelling she was and continued to engage in should not be encouraged by me, at least not in the way I went about it before when I made active inquiries into her strange fantasy of a semi-sentient ball of skin. When I saw Adrian, I did not bring up her grandpa or ask questions about his growth. Adrian could not stop talking about it, however. I had no choice but to weather her bizarre and enthusiastic effusions about her new best friend. He's not a best friend, he's a relative. It's a full-fledged grandpa. That's what it is. What if feeding him attention is all he needs? He sure is. Want a little hint why you want to give him indigestible food? Uh-oh. Am I gonna get the bad ending? I'm gonna get the bad ending, huh? When the people start hinting at hints in the chat, then it means I'm gonna get the bad ending where everybody dies and the grandpa eats everyone. Adrian, maybe we can talk about something else. I'm not sure I'm following you exactly. He's got it so big. He has so many whiskers that come out and I can see them move around when I think about him. Whiskers, is that what she describes, the hairy things? I don't know. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm so happy Grandpa is back. He's so much cooler than Mom and Dad. Once again, for what it's worth, I have put down the story she told me as best as I could. Adrian once again told me about growing her grandpa. Woohoo! Into the basement we go. Let me check in here. Nothing. Cabinet should be dirty again. So let me just nothing here. That's great. Top drawer. Cleaning mode and pointy mode. I'm gonna look for the cards and then I'm gonna observe Grandpa. All clean. Bottom drawer. That's a key that I do not have. So we're now gonna go to the trash pile. Oh, found something in the painting. What? What is this? A folder full of radiographic images. Oh, I didn't look at it. Well, I'll look at it when we'll go to the learning corner. Study corner, not learning corner. Nobody says learning corner. That's for nerds. Study corners, that's for real men and women. Potato, it looks edible. He might like it. All clean. Life. Alright, search trash pile, painting. All seems good to me. There's another trash pile here. Is that another card? Indecision. I see. Yet another pulsating sack rose in the corner of the basement. If I had a blade, I would have blown it up. Seems like it could be easily carved with a sharp knife. Trash pile. Kiwi. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. Read the text that appears thoroughly. That is a hint in itself. Okay. Darkness, shadowy corner unnerves you. You cannot explore without some form of light. Some sacks. Well, good. Something about the painting looks strange. Alright, kitchen corner. Found a pear. Strawberry. I have nothing unappealing to try and feed him. Oh, the music here is oddly calm. It's like Resident Evil level of calm. Like Resident Evil save room level of calm. So there was one document I glossed over. Hold on. Shouldn't I... What's up with this paper doll? What happened to the note I picked up? Is there a missing note? I thought I picked up a note of some kind. Alright, Grandpa. Actually, what about this? Oh! Yo, throw these posters to the trash. What is this? A set of procedures regarding this disposal / interment. 1. The researcher will seal off the enclosed bars, ensuring minimal gas leakage during the later fumigating process, and then retrieve the burnt barrel and place it near the enclosure. 2. Allow at least 48 hours of time where the current growth cycle experiences no human-related stimuli. Do not enter the enclosure area, nor any part of the basement. Ideally, you will not be on the grounds at all. 3. After 48 hours, 2 researchers will enter the basement wearing their assigned mirror mask, mirror apron, and powered air purifying respirator. The researcher will use the vent system to fumigate the enclosure area. Wait 30 minutes and then use the fan system to ventilate the enclosure. Keep the fans running during steps 3 through 4. 4. Re-enter the enclosure area wearing your assigned mirror masks and aprons. The organism may or may not be in complete dormancy. If it is not in full dormancy, be assured that its capacity to act against you will be greatly diminished. With your assigned powered drills, quickly remove any enclosure bars needed to access the organism. Put them aside for later reinstallation. 5. Put the organism into the burn barrel. Incinerate the organism thoroughly. Wait for any smoke to be properly cleared by the fan system. 6. Turn off the fans. One researcher will retrieve the nucleus from the ash and place it on the mirror box. The other researchers will shift through the ash and place any other substantial remains in the biohazard bin in the room outside of the enclosure area. The bin is locked for safety purposes. The code is 3 grandpas. Actually, no, it was 2. Actually, no, it was 3. Actually, no, it was 2. Actually, no, they multiplied. Actually, no, it was 5. Okay, I'll remember it. 32, 32, 4, 5? Oh yeah, that's good. 33, 32, 4, 5. 3 grandpas. Actually, no, 2. No, 3. No, 2. You know what? They multiplied and then 5. Like another grandpa just out of nowhere. There you go. You said a safety? You said there is a safe? Maybe it's cabinet? Bottom drawer? Let me open. I wanna see the creepy stuff. I mean, this game is already creepy. Particular human representation. Paper doll. I can grow another grandpa? Yo, screw this grandpa. Already gave up on him. (32 plus 32 equals 45). That's not how math works. I'm reporting you. I'm actually reporting you. I will go out of my way to report you. Anyway, don't be distracted. There is more stuff to clean. This game is so bizarre. I love it. It's so just out there. Like, why? What was James thinking, right? James is crazy. I see an item there, or maybe not. It's a part of the background. File cabinet 3, 2, 1. Nothing to pick up. Well, what about the imaging device? You slip the radiographic images you found under the machine display. Yeah, that's what I want to see. Ah! It's a growth on the back of this guy's head. Propagation. 21. Day 19 after dormancy. Nth vacuum broken. Broken, yes. Term 21 days. Intriguing results with regard to the mimic hypothesis. A participant entered a sealed chamber adjacent to Whisker's growth cycle 21, which had been freed from the anthropodic vacuum, constructed quite economically from plastic and broken mirrors. The first propagation original earthenware vacuum was shattered during the move-in. Between the two, there was a semi-opaque glass panel that allowed observation both ways. The human participant was asked to think of someone in the popular consciousness, fictional or not, and cogitate on their image, personality, face if possible, voice if possible, etc. Our participant chose Jesus of Nazareth, and with weekly repeated exposures to the participant's imagining propagation 21 began forming with resembled an anthropoid Nazarene in the fold of its spines. Previous human-oriented tests have always bore out a result that Whiskers would form an anthropoid team member, be it me or Dr. Hart or Gerald, and we assumed it was merely mimicking one of us. Dr. Hart has always contended that the desires yield, or the anthropoid reproduction Whiskers creates when it contact with human beings, has always been based on the conception and relation to the person through someone else. With this framework, the serious yield is not actually a replica of a person, or if it is only a replica of the fiction of a person generated in the mind of another. The desirous yield was Jesus Christ, but the participants' image of Jesus assembled from their religious upbringing, religious artwork, depictions, and popular culture, etc. The radiograph was taken right before the destruction of the growth cycle, while Whiskers was rendered unconscious via fumigation. It seems like with every successive propagation, the stem cells in the organism work a little faster, but I'm not paranoid. It's technically deathless. Yes, but we're burning up whatever knowledge it's gained when we incinerate it. I don't believe in magic just yet. So that's the thing that grows behind the spine, the back of his head. Anyway, I'ma teach my grandpa. Whoo, he seems excited to see me. You examine Grandpa, noting his movement, respiration, and general mood. Grandpa's gums are bleeding slightly and its skin seems overly dry. It may need a food packed with vitamin C. A kiwi fruit would be an excellent remedy. Well, I'm gonna give him some vitamin C. And I'm gonna give him concealed battery. Teach. Life. Having completed the lesson, you take a look at the back of the vocabulary module card and the notes that were written by administrators of the past. Life, part of vocabulary and assistant module 29, concept formation, general pronunciation comments, none, module comments in below. At week 3 of growth 24, Whiskers appear to recall some information from a previous growth cycles. We cannot be sure that this was really the case. For all we know, what we interpreted as it recollecting this information was really a drawing somatic content from one of our recollection of it and redeploying it without rationality or contextualization. But what about the imaging we just saw? Didn't it say that they were able to possess information from previous growths? For the sake of our safety and for the sake of scientific inquiry, we are tempted to draw out Whiskers whether it somehow retains knowledge from previous cycles in its morpholytic nucleus. We did not think it was possible the nucleus, though complex and incredible in its regenerative abilities, was capable of this, and that the nerve network that grew from it made up the base of Whiskers' mind, and so we are now attempting to ask Whiskers, as best as we can, if it has ever died, or what it might remember if it did. Oh, they're telling on themselves. They're telling. If he remembers, he'll kill them. You step away from the document. Well, I'm gonna teach Grandpa again. Indecision. He's growing so fast. How many eyes does he have? How many? What are these eyes or mouths? Lips? Having completed the lesson, you take a look. Indecision, part of vocabulary and vocalization module F23, theory of mind. General pronunciation comments, articulation problems, possible trouble with diphthongs. Module comments below. We are introducing the latest growth of Whiskers to more subtle social cues and testing its ability to judge mental states of participants in conversation. The semantic content that flows to Whiskers via its psi field is still becoming muddled and slipped without distinction into conversation, although our intention of instilling in it a solid theory of mind will perhaps make it begin to understand that we do not know what it is knows, or or know what we are without our control. Send it to it. One would think a theory of mind seems to develop as part of its muturation process. In order to hunt sapient beings, it must be able to deceive them. In order to deceive, it must be able to make certain metacognitive judgments. For example, if their deception appears to be working or how one ought to be deceived, we may never see it develop a theory of mind anytime soon, as Dr. Hart has disallowed a cycle of whiskers growth to live into the beginnings of maturity. You step away from the card. I'm gonna save. Alright, Grandpa. It is attempt to communicate. No response. You approach the small window. Alright, Grandpa. I heard your gums are bleeding. Here's a little bit of kiwi. Where's your nostrils, Grandpa? Do not spit it out. Yeah. Alright, Grandpa. Now, since you enjoy the kiwi so much, I'm gonna give you a concealed battery. Or not? I don't know. Read the text that appears thoroughly. Does that mean the description that I just read? Should I give him a concealed battery? Alright, got it. So his nostrils is right here. Well, it makes sense because it's like his mouth is sideways. So, you know, my mouth, my nose. So that makes sense. But I don't know. Grandpa grunts in appreciation and locomotion. Oh, I need to feed him 3 times acceptable food eaten. Seek out things to feed Grandpa. Well, I have plenty to feed him, actually. So, I think we'll be fine. I'ma feed him lettuce. It's inoffensive. Alright. I'm gonna feed him so much trash. Because I'm sure I'll run out of, like, digestible food soon, and then he'll die. You examine Grandpa, noting its improvement in respiration and general mood. Grandpa appears content and ready to cooperate. Grandpa accedes to your request. It approaches the bars and begins to unkint its kin. The inner Grandpa, though still not fully formed, is revealed. It may be fruitful to speak with it, if it can respond. So that's what they mean by, like, vessel or shell. Anyway, there is plenty of things we can actually ask. We wish, Grandpa's shell, biohazard bin, which is something we learned at the beginning, language, and goodbyes, well, leaving him. So let's ask about wish. Grandpa still struggled to somewhat speak due to its underdeveloped tongue, mouth, and jaw. However, it manages to rasp out an answer. Hunger. is not enough. On the walls of the cave, the urge can be hunger transformed. Desire is fully fulfilled by pain. Your grandpa doesn't have the right words, right? Your grandpa doesn't have the right words right now. Right now, I can only say I love you. Love is not enough, though. Desire is not enough. Project it outwards. Make it true to yourself. If only a symbol, then it will be enough. For me and for you. Grandpa's shell. Something is growing in my skin. Is not the doll skin. My skin is not like your skin either. I can feel your eyes on me inside my shell. I have many eyes to see, but I don't need them as much as I need your eyes with which I can understand as seeing me. There is a cycle of attention. You give me myself, but I am still not that. Slowly I form a human shape, and you see me more as human, and I become that. So what I see him is what he becomes. They kept putting me in a box, sleeping and then set a light. Wait a second. That's not your memory. Whose memory is this? Is this a memory of a previous cycle or something? They kept putting me in a box, sleeping and then set a light. Sleeping. Death, and then set a light. Burning him. And then in a box. The cage. A box in a corner, in the darkness. Most of you couldn't read then. The scribe came and wrote what everyone said. They wrote on strips of bark with thin reeds. Okay, maybe he's just not making sense right now, or maybe he did make sense. No, it was not that. It was a paper posted somewhere. It had words to open the box. He means the letter behind the poster. I was half dead in the box. The part of me that dies was put there for a long time. That part of me and other things they threw in a refuse pile, papers they discarded. 323245, that's the code for the safe, but we also need a key, I think. Ask about language. I think that's the memory of the mimic altogether. That's what I think too. Fit in with streamer bad waters. Hey, we don't want to kill him. Grandpa is old. My lives were easier before I made myself to speak and before you made clothes to wear and rules to obey. Your grandpa remembers. I have learned much in many lives and deaths. Keep speaking with me. I love talking with you and learning from you, and it helps your grandpa so much. Soon I will be everything you would be like to me. Bye, Grandpa. Love you. Mwah. Ted, I'm banning you now. Week 4. The time I have to spend compiling an evaluation on Adrian is almost up, and I still can't say what to make of her changes in mood. It is of course the case that children of Adrian's age are nowhere near finished learning and growing. I may have to simply be happy that Adrian was able to improve her attitude. However, there is something in the odd and occasionally grotesque stories she continues to bring up to me still strike me as meaningful. So how was your week been, Adrian? Grandpa is almost ready. He's almost finished. Well, sort of. He's almost as big as his shell now. He has a face, and he can talk pretty well, and almost has legs. I see. As before, I have put down the story she told me as best as I could. Once again, Adrian told me about growing her grandpa. I'm the trash man. I'm gonna start looking for trash now. Examine trash pile. Found some soap. Give me that. I think it says Grandpa will eat it because it smells good. Alright. I don't have a sharp object yet to cut these. And over here is a dark corner. The grandpa did mention something about darkness, but I presume that's just the fact because he was dead, right? But he also could be talking about that corner. So I'm gonna be examining the cabinet. Found a meaning. I really like that I can move the trash can around for easier grabbing of the trash. Ideally, I would like to open the safe before leaving my grandpa. You know, before reaching the ending of the game. Don't see anything here. Wait, there is another bowelless growth? Yet another pulsating sac grows in the corner of the basement. Seems like it could be easily opened with a sharp edge. Something about the painting looks off. Found something. Flat bread. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. Is her grandpa truly in there? Because he seems like he want to grow. I don't know what the heck she's doing. But I'm like scared for her. Symbol. And mushroom. There's another pulsating sack in the corner of the basement. Seems like it would be easy to open with a sharp edge. Really hope my parents don't come to the basement and see all this trash. Save game. Study corner. There's all my documents. Termination procedure, I believe we read that. So I think earlier there was a bug because I did find a note and it didn't let me read it. Shell note, I think. Nope, we read that. Okay, maybe we read the note. I think it was the radiograph that I picked up and thought it was a note that I could read. We already read the severe note. Educational posters. We already found the thing on the wall with the code. We're gonna start cleaning the cabinets now. Holy sh... I'm cleaning trash so fast. I'm the trash man. Or the trash girl. Technically, I'm the trash girl. By the way, this has been cleaned for a second time in a row. Cabinet 3. If you remember, in Cabinet 3, we actually removed tape and unearthed the bottom and found a note. Imaging device. Anything strange now? Whoa, when... Oh! Wait, there's more? There's more! First of all, what am I even looking at? That's whiskers! That's the whiskers! That's what I'm looking at. Propagation 2. Day 0 after dormancy. Broken, yes. We have taken to calling it whiskers, though of course some have interpreted it as hair or needles or quills, but whiskers is more accurate, as the needles are really more like super sensory follicles. Excuse me, I cannot read that. Follicles or spines. The nerve nets disturbed throughout the morphology of these spines resemble those of genus Hydra, but have myelin sethons that are functionally the same as vertebrae. As we can see in the X-ray, each spine is laden with dense optical arrangement similar to compound eyes. The Hydra connection is assuredly worth investigating with regard to the organism's capacity to regeneration and anecdotal deathlessness. It certain is a robust enough creature to inspire marvel that is not untinged with fear. Next. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Like what? It's a growth on something. On what? I cannot tell. Broken? No. 16 days. Day 14 after dormancy. Exposure to mammalian forms, part of a series of zoomorphic influences, led to further understanding of the propagation's ability to simulate the somatic stem cells that constitute fully developed animals. I read simulate in the previous statement because examining the tissue of each propagation leads me to believe its amazing capacity for accelerated growth of vastly different forms comes with its cell-level mutability, and yet at no time does the function as the thing it becomes except in the sense that it mimics it. That is to say, when Whiskers is removed from dormancy and replicates a rabbit's morphology, it is not seen from the rabbit's eyes nor smelling from the rabbit's nose, but pretending that it does, and doing a very good job at it. So, he's a rabbit, but then he doesn't... Like, he pretends to be a rabbit, and he pretends to, like, live like a rabbit, like some sort of a play. Bro, this algorithm sucks. Where is the rest of your 350,000 subs? I wouldn't blame the algorithm for that. I've been very slow with content. And also, well, I've been around for a long time, so not all the subs are interested in what I make today. But most people watch me on the second channel, which link it in the description in the chat, which you can look at. And yeah, and I appreciate everybody who watches, and maybe one day I'll become overrated. Well, that was an interesting read, and this is the final radiology radial imaging that we're gonna look at. This looked like some sort of a brain matter. It's like... Okay, there's no way it's the brain. It looked like something that is squashed and then a growth is growing on it. So, propagation day 10 after dormancy. Authentication vacuum, broken no. Term at day 12. This one didn't leave as long as the others. Oh well. The radiograph was taken at or around growth cycle number 4. The strange thing about it was the subject of the image was found nowhere near the enclosure. It's almost like a piece of whiskers fell off and scurried into the corner. I feel like we've learned a lot since then, but at the time I remember speaking about the morphology being weird, not really even resembling any extant zoomorphic structure, besides maybe a cuttlefish. Then I happened to open the thing up. Inside were all these little dead amobia-like things, but they all sort of looked like they had faces. Faces that were just barely there. After I took the radiograph, I gathered it up and went to go through it in the biohazard bin. As I walked by the bars of the enclosure, I could hear Whiskers suddenly going wild, flopping around and grunting excitedly. Could it have smelled the cuttlefish thing? Would it eat its own production? I guess it's technically flesh. Remember, we got a warning not to feed it flesh. This is beyond the scope of the project, but it could be that without the stimulus of an active brain, or more specifically a healthy and active brain, capable of face recognition and theory of mind, Whiskers began to pull whatever it can from the limited data available to it. Again, this is not our focus at the time, but I left a note for Dr. Hart just in case he wanted to take a look. So, what is this? Is this like... I don't know. Well, that was educational. Education. Whoopsies. I clicked off screen. There you go. I have a paper doll, but... maybe I can make another one just to feed him? Observe. You examine Grandpa, noting movement, respiration, and general mood. Grandpa seems fatigued and almost anemic. Some of the spines appears brittle. Perhaps it would be more cooperative if fed an iron-rich meal like meat. Nuh-uh! Nope! No! I said no! I don't have meat, per se, to give him. I guess if I could open the sacks, like these groves, then I could feed him parts of himself. Man, they're all over the place. Oh, I haven't checked the kitchen. Hold on. We might have meat in the kitchen. I need to feed it 3 things. Apple. Jackfruit. Achievement unlock on the gourmet grind. I'm guessing I found all the food? Yup, I did. So there is no meat. Oh yeah, that's right. Meat is another action. That's what we read in the note. So meat is not even described as food. Right? If we feed it, we're just doing a different action. You know? That's what we read. An apple is like meat? No. You are wrong. I'm putting you in meat jail. Have fun with all the apples. I mean meat. Well, I think that's that. Attempt to commune. No response. He seems happy. Let's teach him the meaning and other stuff. If I were to teach him a word, it would be cereal. Because I'm going to eat a big bowl of cereal after playing this game. Meaning. Whoops. I keep clicking off the second screen. I don't think if lithium poisoning would be a good idea. I'm going to feed him a concealed battery anyway. He's my grandpa, and I know what he needs. Having completed the lesson, you take a look at the back of the card. Meaning, part of vocabulary and vocalization, module J11, metacognition / higher thought, general pronunciation comments, none, module comments, see below. We further delve into abstraction with Whiskers, partially, or perhaps for the most part, for the purpose of determining the origins of its recollection that preceded its death. Dr. Hart has begun to theorize that in the process of death, the structure of Whiskers is compressed back into the morpholytic nucleus, and then later, upon re-establishing the nerve netting that is laced through its spines, is slowly reassembled and redeployed as needed. I do not think this is the case, for I can plainly see that for our growth cycles in which Whiskers is not receiving our pronunciation and vocabulary lesson, that its capacity general for comprehending its environment is generally diminished, and in the stimulated conversations we carry out, Whiskers struggles greatly or else does not participate. But that's the thing, right? Because he said that, if he's aware, he'll deceive. So he might deceive in them by not knowing how to pronounce. Or maybe he really doesn't know how to pronounce. In any case, we will pass on with our lessons and heed Dr. Hart's caution regarding termination, the growth cycle before Whiskers' allotted growth time passes, or if it appears to be becoming just a little too competent at appearing human. Alright. I'm gonna save the game. We're teaching him the word symbol. Having completed the lesson, you take a look at the back. Meaning, part of vocabulary and vocalization module J15, metacognition / higher thought, general pronunciation comment, there is nothing. Module comments. This one is spooky. There appears to be nothing written here, or if there was, it was thoroughly erased. What? Why would they delete the word symbol? Like, not delete, but not write anything on the back. Everything they had, but the word symbol not having anything at the back, that symbolizes something. No pun intended. Feed. Grandpa, I have a delicious battery for you. Grandpa mad. Why is Grandpa so bad? I'm just doing my best. There you go. I hit some soap in the apple. The real talent of the game is the girl just somehow keep hiding batteries and soap inside food. Like, how does she do that? Because when you combine them, it's still an apple. How does she do it? It still looks like an apple, and I don't see soap anywhere. Alright, feeding time. Feed him soap to clean his dirty mouth. How do you know his mouth is dirty, huh? He's unable to detect the appealing item. Eat it! Eat it! Although quickly consumed, the meal seems to be causing some indigestion. With a sudden lurch, Grandpa empties its stomach on the floor. The contents pull together in front of the cage. What about... What's hidden here, anyway? Hold on. Concealed soap and concealed battery. Oh, I did not fit in the battery. There you go. I think we're still gonna fit it like normal food, too, so... He needs to digest at least twice, I think. Actually, no. I'm gonna put the pier back because I think we can conceal food in it. So I'll keep it for later in case we want to conceal something. Only fruits can be concealed. Only fruits can conceal items, is what I meant to say. So he ate 3 things and 2 other. I'm a save game and I'm a go at it. Oh, examine stomach contents. Oh, still somewhat wet. Rusty, but perfectly. Oh, oh. Grandpa, you're still hungry, in my humble opinion. Who's a great grandpa? I found a flashlight! Alright, first things first. Cabinet. Bottom drawer. You're trying the safe's lock with the key you found. And it opens. A photo of your mother as a young woman. The recognition of this face kicks off a cascade of emotion and meaning deep within your psyche. There's also a hand watch and more photos. What about that safe that required a code, though? Oh, we can use glue now with a paper doll and a mom and glue them together. A tangible symbol of intention and desire. Do we throw them in the cage with Grandpa? That would be his daughter. Offer mother doll. Grandpa doesn't appear to be interested at the moment. Maybe later then, Grandpa. Now, let's start taking care of these, growths. You peer into the small opening created by your incision. In the oily cavity, a powerful smell of rot arises, and many small inchoate beings lay motionless and dead. However, you just barely hear the near silent slithering of something, or maybe it is just your imagination. Hiss. Hissing. Look at all this flesh. It's a baby! Anthropoid Remnant 2, a self-sufficient animal of form knit together from years of ambient thoughts, left to crawl around the basement. Grandpa may enjoy the flesh. I'm gonna feed him to Grandpa just because the game told me that, well, that I may want to give it to him. Little friends. Little friends. There's another one here. I cut it with my scissors, and now I'm gonna look inside, and I'm gonna start cleaning them out. However, you just barely see near silent slithering. Wow, wow, I'm a big baby. We make another incision and we look inside. Cleaning time. Hey, this is the first baby. Because it says number 1. The other was 3, and then the first one we found was number 2. And now we're going to use our flashlight to look in the corner. So we have a waste bin and bookshelf. This is things that I... What was the code again? Was it 3 grandpas? No, it was 2. No, it was 3. No, it was 2. Actually, it was multiplied by 2. Actually, 5. The lid unlocks, and with some effort, you move the heavy lid of the bin. A photo of your father as a young man. Look at that hair! The recognition of his face kicks off a cascade of emotion and meaning deep within your psyche. He looks like a YouTuber. He looks like he could be a successful YouTuber or something. His hair is so luscious. I found another simple paper doll, which now I can use to put my dad's face on it. A classic of alchemy. On the virtue of the prudent when dealing with devils, seen or unseen, these splendors and terrors of God's creation inhibit the world of both seen and unseen, and just as one will not grapple with a lion lest they be a fool, one will not approach a being of the mind or ether without foreknowledge thereof. There are beings with no form, hiding between towering columns of air and only appearing by slipping into the heart of mind of evil and unclean men. But still are there more beings which straddle the realm between the seen and unseen creatures, filling through the air to see the heart of mind of men. It is only by God's grace and his angels and servants crushing these beings under heel that a magician might compel them to see magician's will. And so a magician must be perfectly clear and unerring in intent and ritual granted to us by God, or else the devil, seen or unseen, will devour them, that being their nature. On the nourishing of devils of a particular type, certain devils of a particular nature are nourished by the element of fire, others by attention and prayer given to their by idols, still others by stranger and more obscure means. By God's grace, the requirement for nourishing a devil as a part of a contract only requires a token of these givings, that is, a symbol. And if you remember, the symbol card was the only symbol that had nothing written on the back of it. The only card that did not. The symbol thing is messing with it. If devil hungers after flesh and would strip a man to his bones in its devouring, the devil's hunger in nature, which thirsts for flesh, can be held in obedience in the ritual act of giving blood in only a few drops. However, the contract must be compelled in full, for if the magician errs and does not provide in the devil instruction and guidance, the devil, once adjured to do no harm upon the magician, will return to its devouring nature. I did not understand. What did it say? Did it just say you have to feed him slowly flesh? Because I haven't fed him flesh at all, and I'm gonna have to feed him flesh now. Am I screwed? I'm screwed, huh? I can drip feed the flesh to him. So first of all, I'm gonna use the glue and make my dad. The whole family's here. I got an achievement, a triangle symbol, a tangible symbol of intention and desire. Cool. Oh no, I got an achievement for collecting everything. I'm gonna die after this, right? Alright, Grandpa. Offer mother. Doesn't interested. Maybe if I give him some flesh. No more vegan, Grandpa. Okay. Grandpa seems excited by the flesh. Oh, I fed him flesh. What have I done? The meal appears to have perceived well. Your offering of flesh stirs something within Grandpa. From within the folds of its body, a worry proboscis-like appendage begins to emerge. It may be worth taking a look at this after defeating. Knowledge you have recently acquired has given you access to a new conversation topic with Grandpa Proboscis. Hold on, I need to look at this growth. What is this so-called growth? What did it say? Grandpa's proboscis is out. You motion to Grandpa to approach and point to protrusions. Grandpa silently ambles closer to the bars and fully extended towards you. It's a baby hand! A minuscule needle extends from its tip. There appears to be one more thing you must give, if only for the sake of prosperity. Grandpa retracts its prospects as you step away from the bars. Grandpa accedes to your request. It approaches the bars and talks. The inner Grandpa, though still not fully formed, is revealed. It may be fruitful to speak if it can respond. Grandpa! So, do you make more sense now? Grandpa loudly clears its throat before gently responding in a lucid, well-projected voice. Ah, you're asking me about your wish. When you wished for me to come back, that's when I knew I would. Your desperation was strong, and your wish for your parents, well, if you give me what I want, I'll give you what you want. Oh yeah, that's right. We cried really hard to make this work. You know I love you. I am for you whatever you want, and I love you just as much as you love me. But desperation and love is not enough. People deep down know they can't get what they wish for without some transformation. There is something that sits at the root of everyone's soul that understands the separation between them and eternity. You may desire something, but you know you will not get it without some movement in your part. So it is not enough to just wish, which you know will not work. You must wish and a little more to transform your intention into something that might fruitfully or for desire to become reality. Ask about Grandpa's shell. Ah, you're asking me about my shell? Oh, well, you see, I like to have something to grow in. Something shaped like a person. It just helps to have something surround me when I don't have skin. My whiskers do not grow. My whiskers do the growing. My whiskers? Yes, you know, the hairy little things. I am a part of it. How do you know it's whiskers? I never refer to it as whiskers. Shit, he has memory of past events. We're screwed. I'm a part of it, and it is a part of me. However, my whiskers are what heard you wishing for me to come back, and so they went to work in the shell you provided. The shell also helps you envision me as what you desire. You have such a nice imagination. If it weren't for my shell, you'd have my whiskers exposed and knitting together my face. That might interrupt the feedback loop of my reading your desires, and then acting upon the desires I have read, and then once again reading your reaction. We wouldn't want that interfered with. The material of the doll you put down is good fit. It's not the most comfortable, but it's quite flexible, and thankfully my shell was able to adjust nicely to my growth. Let's ask him about a biohazard bin. The one I've opened. Ah, you're asking about the medical waste bin. I believe it's locked up. I heard them punching the code many times as they place part of burnt up thine self into the bin. They often forgot what the code was and had to go check on the wall, where they were always taping up sheets upon sheets of information, so much so that the new papers would cover the old. What do you think you would find in there? Well, perhaps something they did throw trash inside from time to time. Bits of paper and forth. I remember seeing a man who looked quite like me. His daughter had given him a photo of her new boyfriend. So he's your, I don't know. He threw it into the bin in disgust and joked with one of his colleagues. It may still be in there for all I know. What about language? Grandpa loudly clears. Ah, you're asking me about language? Well, the more you taught me, the more I was able to learn myself by hearing what you are thinking and saying. A week ago, I could speak a little bit, but I was less of what you imagined me to be and not quite the talker I am at the moment. Part of what I'm saying is of course made up of what you expect me to say. I think I'm very comfortable being open and honest with you because I'm your grandpa and all I feel. And certainly that makes me up part of what I am. However, there is a part of me deeper down, the thing that created me maybe, the undying nucleus. It is answering for me as well and is unaffected by whoever might shape what I become with their thoughts. Ask about little friends. The one of them I feed him. Ah, you're asking about my little friends? Well, yeah, they come from me. They grow around me in pockets of flesh and protoplasm. Protoplasm, I think, is, the sac. Think of them like dreams, maybe. I'll explain. Have you ever heard a dream that was sort of like a bunch of people, places, and events you experience all mixed together and jumbled up? It's a sorting through and disposing of the refuse of the mind. My little friends are like that, refuse. And in ridding myself of them, I am casting off the excess material I did not use in developing life forms. Anyone who comes close to me, well, they are my eyes, my nose, my skin. Their thoughts become mine and shape what I make. However, when I was alone for so long, I didn't have a lot of people near me. What you are thinking and expecting of me is shaping what I am saying. How am I saying it? Do you understand? And so because I did not have enough input from my surroundings in order to put the material to use, the material falls off my body, crawls away, and usually dies. I am able to make the most of my material when someone is looking right at me, projecting who I will be like you are now. What you are thinking and expecting of me is shaping what I'm saying. How I'm saying it, do you understand? What about Grandpa's proboscis? Oh, you're asking me about my proboscis? It is just a tube I keep to help feed on blood. You could say it is... What? It is just a little tube I keep to help me feed on blood. Uh-oh. You could say it is my real mouth, but it's not really a mouth. It appeared because you fed me flesh. One of those little friends you found, I think. You feeding flesh was a symbol, a proposition, if you will, that you wanted to hold up your end of the bargain with regards to your wish. If someone is willing to hold up their end of the bargain and let me feed on them with my proboscis, then they can move on to the next step of the agreement, provided me symbolic instructions. I hope that helps clear things up. Oh, you have another question? Do I like the blood? Well, my whiskers, I believe they like the blood and the flesh. It's strange, they are me and yet they are now me. I am bound to them, they control me, and technically yes, they did make me. However, you were the one who really grew me. In some ways, those whiskers, they are me, or a part of myself, or I am a part of it. That part is much more animal-like. Whatever might happen, know that I will always love you, and because it controls me, I might not be able to act how I would like, even if I do love you. He's gotta drink my blood! Goodbye. By the way, should I feed him all the rest of the flesh? I don't know if I should feed him some more flesh. I have 2 more of these buddies. Save them for another day. I have sneezed. I have officially sneezed. I guess I'm gonna not feed him flesh. The thing is, I got an achievement saying that I did get everything. I'm gonna save the game. If I cannot... Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll game saved here. If I do see that something is missing, then I'll go. Can I offer one of the bodies? I cannot select these items. Oh, I'm giving him blood! No! Grandpa has appreciated your blood offering. It will receive a symbol or totem from you now, although only one per offering. As the blood-fed proboscis retracts back into the fold of fabric, you step away from the bar. So I gotta make 2 offerings? But he's now gonna accept an offering for me, I see. So it's a transaction, an offering for an offering. Well, in that case, I'm gonna offer my mother. You approach the bars and hold out the mother symbol you created. Grandpa's spines quickly reach out and envelope the doll before drawing back. The doll quickly vanishes within the folds of Grandpa's skin. Constructing and then offering your mother's image to Grandpa, symbolically sated by blood, instills in you a concrete sense of completion. Grandpa gives a soft affirming grunt as it senses deep within your mind the ritual transformation of your desire. Although Grandpa must receive both a mother and father totem before the fulfillment of your wish is assured, I don't think he'll accept the father. I'll need to make... Hopefully I can feed him next week. Oh. If I screwed up, I will, you know, replay the game again and beat it super quickly. Because most of it is reading, so I'll make sure to feed him flesh beforehand. Alright, so end of week. If I get one more week with him, I can make another offering and then give him the other symbol. And that's that. I mean, they should have known, right? Because there is a card called Symbol. Who could that be? Come in. Ah, Adrian, good to see you. Aren't you a little early? No matter. I suppose I have some time now. How have you been? How is your grandpa doing? That's why I wanted to talk to you. Something happened. Oh, what happened? Nothing bad, I hope. No, nothing bad. Just different, I think. Maybe even good. Well, I'll tell you about it. Well, last night something woke me up. There was this noise at first. It was like it came from the walls. I could hear it from my bedroom. But there was something else. Something calling. I could hear it just barely. I was afraid somehow Grandpa hurt himself. I had to go find out. I went down the stairs in the vent, the place where I first found Grandpa, or what I grew him with. It was open. Do you remember how I told you about the vent in the ceiling behind the bars? I was thinking he had climbed up into it. He had gotten so big, he could have done that. Maybe he had gotten trapped somehow in the vent. I had to go see. Oh, we're screwed. I got inside, I heard it calling again. More clearly this time. Grandpa was definitely in the vent somewhere. I could feel him hearing my thoughts. I got weird feeling, a sense in the air. I had to go forward. Grandpa escaped. We are doomed. As I moved in closer, the vent had stuff in it, the kind of slimy, hairy stuff Grandpa would leave around a lot. Is he gonna swallow me whole? He was definitely close. Something was there at the end. But it was Grandpa. It looked maybe like he had made it through. It was slumped in the corner. He had a weird mouth and it had its lungs on the outside and drew in just enough air to call out. And then it just stopped. Stopped breathing. And then something was hanging over me. It's a trap! And then I woke up in my bed. In your bed? Adrian, it sounds like it was just quite a dreadful dream. Are you alright, by the way? Your face is twitching like you're about to have a violent seizure. She has a grove. I'm fine. It's just Grandpa, you see. It took me a little while to figure out, but... Later, when I was brushing my teeth, I saw one of Grandpa's whiskers poking just out of my space under my eye. And I started to remember how, in the vent, he hid inside of me. It was so fast, I could barely remember, but soon I started to feel him sliding around in my head. Beside my forehead, and behind my eyes and nose. It doesn't hurt at all. It's just ticklish. I'm glad I could be with him. Oh, I can feel him now. I think he wants to meet you. Part of him is moving down my arm. I'm starting to get worried, Adrian. You really should not be twitching like this. I should walk you out to the nurse's office. Come on, let's go. You should really meet him. I've told you so much about him. Here! What are you doing, Adrian? You're starting to look very ill. Please, just wait. Just stay still. He's gathering, waiting at my fingertips. Why do you look like that? You don't have to be afraid. Look. I got the bad ending, right? That's the bad ending. There are two endings in Growing My Grandpa. You got the failure fulfillment ending. Yes! So we combine the dad with a paper doll, a picture of dad with paper doll. And there we have it. Now we have to offer him blood in order to listen to us. So we're gonna examine this. And then switch to the grabby hands and grab the tip. And now we can go and offer Dad. You approach the bars and hold out Father's symbol you created. Grandpa quickly snatches it. Constructing your offering Father's image to Grandpa, symbolically sated by blood, enseals you in a concrete senses of contemplation. Grandpa gives a soft affirming grunt as it senses deep within your mind the ritual transformation of your desire. Although Grandpa must receive both a mother and father totem before the fulfillment of your wish is assured, knowledge you recently acquired has given you access to new conversation topic. Completed contract? Oh, we gotta talk about this. I'm gonna save Grandpa. Commune. Here he is. Ask about completed contract. Thank you so much for completing the contract. I'll definitely help you with your parents. Just give me a little time and I'll be ready to act. I think you'll be happy. Your grandpa is very happy too. You did it all by yourself, you know. I couldn't have helped you if I tried. I would have really not have liked to. Well, I did not want you to not complete the contract. I would have hated that. But do you understand why I would have had to? Maybe you don't. So much of your lives are made up, and yet what comes to pass was always once a fiction. You doubt yourself and your plans before they are even begun, and you believe what is in front of you, as if the essence of things was not something you put there long ago. Too much doubt can suffocate even the surest thing. Only with patience and growth and nurturing does something become what it will be, as you soon shall see. Thank you, Dad. Grandpa, love you. Alright, Grandpa, that's enough chit-chat. I'm ending this week. Week 5, but this time we gave him both totems, my mother totem and my dad totem. So now, contract is complete. I met with Adrian one final time in order to reach some sort of resolution regarding her emotional trouble. In these past few weeks, according to the reports of her teachers and peers, she has shown remarkable transformation. I would also add my voice to this consensus. It seems time together much changed. I'm not suggesting our meeting was the sole purpose. We already read that. Something tells me something may have changed with Grandpa. Yes, well, something did change. I will write down her words verbatim here. I went down to the stairs like I always did, but I sort of felt like something was off. My parents weren't arguing, and I felt something had changed with Grandpa too. There was a weird noise, but I wasn't afraid. Did it take care of the parents? Grandpa! There he is! A happy family! I got a new mom and a new dad! Christmas is here already? Hello, Yosef. I think Grandpa had to leave, but before he left, he made my parents nice. He reached inside and changed them. That was my wish. Maybe even what I was growing wasn't really my grandpa. Grandpa left what I was growing behind. Ha! He looks like a burnt chicken. He's gone now. He moved quickly out to He's gone now. He moved quickly out to I don't know where, but I'll always love him. I dismissed Adrian soon after, letting her know it was a pleasure getting to know her. Despite my apprehensiveness about the speed of the turnaround she has made, I cannot see any reason why Adrian should be considered for further evaluation. And as a counselor for Adrian, let it be known that I believe she is of sound mental and emotional health. I am pleased to see things turn off this way, and if I may make a brief addendum, by happenstance, Mrs. Richardson bumped into the Hart family the other day while running an errand. She told me the parents were a little odd, but very pleasant, and quite clearly they adored their child, and that she had never seen Adrian happier. Well, they have growths now in their brain. Because the grandpa, or I guess the whiskers, is within them. They now have the whiskers. I got the other ending. The child is the mother of the parent. That's an interesting achievement.